afternoon. Would you mind please introducing yourself for everyone at home?
Absolutely. So, hi, my name is Jacqueline Strauss. I am a CPA, been licensed in the state of Florida for about 19 years now. I am also the founder of a company called My Macro Memoir. I'm a mother to two elementary age children, an active volunteer in my community, and I do also handle a number of small businesses and act as their fractional CFO.
What are some of the documents people might find immediately following the passing of a loved one, and what might they have to sort through?
Sifting through paperwork is one of the most stressful things that the family members or those close to the person that has passed has to experience. And it's unfortunate, but it does happen. It's very real. And the ideal situation I want to put up and out there to begin with is certainly with the heightened awareness now of COVID, knowing now that it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. I also happen to live in South Florida where the Surfside tragedy just took place as well, which was extremely devastating, very tragic, where likely a lot of those people passed without having their documents and affairs in order, leaving family members to search. So we are to be tasked with the job to look for life insurance policies, bank accounts, any trust that may have been in place, all different types of, was there long-term care insurance? What types of life insurance were there? What about any medical records? What about any final wishes that were in place as far as how the funeral, they had wishes in the way that, were they buried? Were they cremated? A lot of moving pieces when we think about somebody's life, right? And a lot of times I hear, well, I don't really have anything. But the truth is, whether you are a college student, a high school student, you're in your mid, starting a career, or if you are very late in life, we all accumulate something.
Of these documents, are there any that need to be kept in physical form?
There are documents that you must retain in physical format versus documents that can be retained digitally, okay? So there's definitely a distinction. The items that you must have physical copies of are a minimum of the last 3 years of your tax returns, birth certificate, power of attorney needs to be original, any wills or trusts in place, you need the original documents of those, okay? There will be hopefully there could be a DNR form, the medical directive. So the last living will is also known as an advanced medical directive, as well as any divorce decree, marriage certificate. So those are the most common documents that one would find, as well as, I believe, life insurance policies.
I know that there are a lot of retention rules regarding certain tax documents and things like that, but is there anything that should be kept indefinitely?
The wills, the trust, the power of attorney, and the death certificate, no doubt, must be kept indefinitely. You never know when you're going to get a letter in the mail from a potential debtor that's coming after the deceased, where you will have to prove that that person is no longer here. So you definitely need to retain that. Or you could get a letter in the mail that they've got unclaimed assets. And that could be years down the road if that person passed away without having everything in an organized manner, that you had to search for breadcrumbs and try and find what you could. And you likely are going to miss something in that respect. So you want to have the physical copies of those items retained to prove this is the case, so you can go ahead and take the necessary steps to go ahead and acquiring those.
What is the best procedure for organizing these documents, and then what is the best procedure for disposing of documents that you may not need?
My best advice in order to get organized is use a guided digital vault to keep all the information. And other than the documents that I told you need to physically be retained, those also need to be digitally backed up, because what if there's a flood? What if there's a hurricane? What if there's a fire if you're out in California? Natural disasters, you want everything backed up digitally. But besides that, everything else you can discard as long as you upload it digitally. And the best practice for doing that is professionally shredding it, because you don't know who's going to go through the garbage and pick things up and get information on you. Anything that doesn't have to be retained physically, shred it and get rid of it, because you're opening yourself up to be compromised if you don't take this best practice on.
A question that we're sometimes asked is, can a deceased person still have their identity stolen?
Absolutely, they can. There was actually an increase of that as of late, leading up to the pandemic, actually. I know that here in the state of Florida, the various law enforcement agencies were cracking down on this. That, as well as children being victims and people using their social security numbers. It's very easy for somebody that's a professional at doing this to go ahead and continue trying to collect social security in your name or apply for various different benefits. It's definitely not far-fetched, but again, it speaks to the fact that we've got to protect ourselves the best way possible with the best controls.
So unfortunately, this is something we're probably all going to experience at one point or another in our lives. So what is the best way to prepare for this sort of thing ahead of time?
So best be prepared is very simple. We have to be proactive. Human nature, our behavior is reactive. And we classify things as humans into important and urgent. We always deal with the urgent, but the important things like getting all of your things organized, just simply for the case of wanting to be more efficient in our lives. Sadly, the important always becomes the urgent. So this is really somebody determining and committing to be more proactive rather than reactive. And that's human nature. And I don't know how to change that, to be honest with you, except for us committing and not having a short memory of what we all just went through with COVID, right? We could never have planned for that. The people that went to bed at night in Surfside in that condo never, ever in a million years would have imagined, never. So it's these situations that should allow us to take recognition and realization that we're not doing anybody we love any good by not preparing.